Come on, Mommy. We'll do it this way, okay? Hi, everyone. So today I am going to do a dish from Bangladesh. I will have to check on how to pronounce it, but it is a chicken pulao recipe. And in the description box, I will have the recipe or facsimile of what I'm going to be doing today. And it is not a chicken biryani, it's a chicken pulao. So it's going to be a little different, but the principle in general is very similar. But I saw it the other day on YouTube and it looks so good. I thought I have to make this for my channel at some point. And here we have Roly Poly keeping Mommy company. And are you excited? Yeah. Oh my sweetheart, she's very excited. So we're not going to do it with Roly Poly, but we're going to get your moral support, aren't we? And that's not a very nice way to say it, sweetheart. But that's okay. So I hope you join me on this episode. I promise you a very, very nice exotic dish that we're going to be tackling today. So please stay tuned and please continue watching. So here I am showing you how to do some of the prep for this beautiful, elaborate, and unusual chicken pulao. It is not the same as chicken biryani. I wanted to stress that. The way of cooking this, and there are differences in the way this is cooked and prepared, and also in some of the ingredients, and I can go into that in more detail later on. First of all, I wanted to show you I have a bowl, and I have short-grained rice. Now you can use basmati rice, you can use whatever short-grained rice you like, you prefer, you have on hand, but it is imperative that you do use short-grained and for the flavor that we're looking for in this recipe. So I have a bowl of this, and what I'm going to do, I'm just going to be soaking this rice. I put 1 cup of water, and I'm just going to put a little bit more water so the rice can soak. Wait a second. I thought that would be enough, but it's not. So just to sort of soak the rice. Okay, so I'm just going to be mixing this a little bit and having the rice soak. And while I do that, I'm going to take you to the chicken. So we're doing this for 2 people, and I'm one of those people who's going to be eating this tonight for dinner. And I don't eat a huge amount of anything these days, and especially meat. I like meat, but I don't eat a lot of it. So here we have 3 chicken thighs, and they've been skinned, and I'm going to be marinating them for about an hour minimum, if not longer. And all I have here, it's very, very simple marinade. I have some salt, and I have some ground cayenne pepper, some chili pepper, and I'm just going to be putting this in. Just for some reason it's stuck. I don't know why. Okay, I'm going to be mixing that in, and I have some yogurt. I got a bit of the cayenne pepper in that, unfortunately. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be taking the yogurt, and I'm going to be marinating, and this is yogurt with lemon flavor. That's okay, but you definitely want to stay away from any heavily flavored yogurt with fruits or berries. You don't want that because you don't want that kind of flavor to mix with your pulao that you're going to be making. So all I'm doing, I'm taking a spoon and I'm just mixing this thoroughly. I could put more cayenne, but I like to cook for people who are not able to have too much heat, and then that way I can always add more chili later on. So I just had some cayenne pepper, some sour yogurt, and I have a bit of salt. For the first time I'm using salt in the marinade. Usually I don't, but I am, because we're going to be using spices that are not from a box, but that we're going to be making and adding ourselves. Okay, so here you go. We have the chicken marinating and we have the rice soaking, and I will be back. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to start off first of all by taking some, this is called ghee, and I'm actually I'll show you the version that I'm using. It's wholesale legume ghee or vegetable ghee. And I have not cooked a lot with ghee actually, but I have been reading this recipe many times, and I have discovered that for the authentic taste, you cannot use regular vegetable oil, or you shouldn't, and this will give the best authentic taste. So while you can hear that sputtering a bit, I'm going to add some cloves and some cardamom seeds. And it's sputtering just a bit. And while I do that, I'm also going to be adding the soaked rice, which I got rid of the water, and I'm going to be cooking this. It's probably going to sputter a little bit, and as I was saying, it's in a lower temperature, and I'm just going to be giving this a stir until it feels a little bit heavy in texture. Back. So I am back, and as you can see, the rice has been very lightly fried in the ghee. And now what I'm going to do, because I have such a small amount of rice, I'm going to be adding the water, and the water is typically double the amount of rice. So I have about 3/4 of a cup to a cup of rice, and it should be about double that amount of water. But I'm going to be doing just a little bit less than that. And what I am going to be doing also is, in addition to the water, I'm going to be adding some milk. And that will be giving this rice part a beautiful flavor. So the amount of milk and water is roughly double the amount. And I'm just doing this by eye of how much rice there is. Now what I'm going to be doing, it's sort of like rice pudding. I'm going to be stirring this and cooking it that way on medium until the rice starts to cook a little bit more, okay? And once it starts cooking, getting to the stage where it's boiling, I will then be covering it up. And finish cooking it to about 80%. So here we are roasting some whole spices. We have some cinnamon, we have some cloves, and we have some cardamom, green cardamom. And basically what we're doing is, as you can see, there's no oil in this skillet. And that's what we want to do. We want to dry roast it. So I have this on sort of high, medium, high. I don't want to make it so hot that it burns. And then I'm gently going to be shaking this a little bit and then continuing to fry, or dry roast, I guess is the technical term. And once I do that, I'm going to be grounding this up with some garam masala that I already have. And what this does is, I don't have to make a completely fresh batch, but I am going to be adding enough freshness so that the garam masala that I cook with is going to taste absolutely great. And it is definitely worth this extra trouble. Basically, adding this to what I already have, and I am going to take my time and ground this as much as possible. I don't want to break the pots completely and completely ground it, but the cloves as much as possible, yes. And it's called bruising. The cardamom, if you can see, it's open and the flavor is being released. So here is my partly made homemade fresh garam masala, and it does make a difference, I promise you. So I will be back and start the chicken. Okay, and it's starting to, the kitchen is really smelling amazingly delicious. There is a special smell to ghee that is, you cannot replicate with anything else. And I have this on, not on high, but on medium. I'm just gonna put it up slightly higher. And I'm just gonna show, I have the chicken that was being marinated in the cayenne salt and yogurt. I have some cashew nut paste and I have some ginger and garlic paste, and I have some sliced onions. So what oh, and of course I have my garam masala. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to take the onions. This is how I like to do it because I feel it's really, really important to make sure that your onions are very, very nicely fried so they emit a beautiful smell and a beautiful taste. If your onions, you don't want to over fry them and have them burn, but on the other hand, if they're not fried sufficiently, I find that, especially with Indian food, Indian dishes like this, an Indian dish like this, or Bangladesh, I should say actually, dish like the one I'm making, the flavor is not going to be the same. So I'm going to take my time and I'm going to cook these sliced onions until they are just maybe slightly brown in color. Okay, I don't know if you can see this well, but I'm just going to take some onions and show that it is getting to be a very nice sort of gold, and there's the resolution coming back again. It's a golden brown color, and you have a few that are a little bit brownish, so that's pretty good. I'm still going to continue frying this, but at this here, you can see some of the brown ones here. Anyways, as I was saying, just going to take the camera and put it there. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add to this the ginger, the grated ginger and garlic. And I'm going to give that a bit of a stir so it fries with the onions, and the smell is absolutely delicious. It is so good. I'm going to be dumping in my garam masala. And now, the sort of the fun part, I guess, I'm going to be taking my marinated chicken, and I'm going to be adding it. I'm not adding all the yogurt. I'm just adding the chicken marinated in the yogurt. And I'm going to be giving this a nice stir and cook it so that it gets nicely mixed with these beautiful onions and ginger and garlic and garam masala. So I'm just going to flip this one, and you can see this beautiful, actually I should use the tongs since that's what they're there for. And I hope you can see how amazing this is starting to look, and certainly to smell. So I'm going to be continuing to cook that for another 5-10 minutes, but before I forget, what I will do at this point is I will add the cashew nut paste, and this is what gives it a beautiful rich flavor and thickness in the gravy. So I'll let that cook for a while, and I will be back to show how I prepare it for more cooking when it's covered. I'm just going to let that fry a little bit more. I don't know if you can see it. I hope you can, but the oil is starting to separate a little bit. I think you can see it here, the oil, or I should say the ghee, and it is getting to the stage where it's getting very, very close to being covered and being cooked thoroughly through. So what I'm going to do at this point is I have, this is pandemic cooking. I do not have lemon juice. I do have some lime juice. And I'm going to be adding a little bit of that. It will help the chicken cook. And I will also be adding to this, and the smell, by the way, is amazing, some more milk. And this milk, to make it blend in better, I have warmed. So it's not cold milk from the fridge. It is a warmed up milk, I should say, not boiling, but warmed. And all I'm going to do at this point, you can see the gravy is starting to thicken. I'm going to be adding enough water to cover the chicken, and then I am going to be covering it and cooking it until it's cooked through on medium. Before I do that, I'm just going to add the rest of the yogurt. Okay, so I will just be adding water to this, and when the chicken is ready, I will be back. So I hope you can see how beautiful this chicken looks. It's in its gravy, and the gravy is not overly thick, but it's not overly thin. And that's exactly the way you want it, and the chicken looks absolutely beautiful. So this is what you want to end up with before you put the biryani together. So I'm going to be putting this together with the rice. I also made some hard-boiled eggs, and I am going to be adding a few more things, and I will talk about that when it's all put together. Hi everyone, so here I am back with the finished product, and it looks amazing. It is fit for a queen, royalty. So all I did was I added some cashew nuts, some egg, and some saffron, and I also added some rose water just to the rice part. And I'm just going to dig in. Is it ever good? And it is different from traditional biryani. For people who don't like heavy spice, this is not very spicy at all. And it's not hot at all, and it's very lightly spiced. So I hope you give this a try, and I hope you enjoy it. I promise you, you will not be disappointed. And stay well, stay blessed, and thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.